Today, I want to talk to you about a common problem that plagues a lot of rappers out there, and that's overthinking things. For an example, you may be watching a lot of my videos. You're taking in lots of information, lots of data, lots of examples and stuff like that, lots of information. And then you go to write your song and you're trying to think of all that stuff you just learned. And you get so confused. You're overthinking, being overly analytical about everything, and you end up not actually doing nothing because you're afraid of making a mistake or making a misstep. And I want to tell you that while it's good to learn all these things, it's great, try to also be free of it. Like the caveat I put at the very end of all my videos, the mantra of when it comes to rapping, there's no rules, only techniques, right? That's the reason I say that, because you never want anything to bind you down, to hold you down, because that right there can kill your progress. It can kill your momentum and your creative workflow. And so while it's good to take in all this information, also at the same time, give yourself the freedom and the liberty to be free of it all. Don't be afraid to break rules. Don't be afraid to break the order in which you do things. Like, I have a songwriting process that I like to use, but I also write songs in many different orders. I break that cycle too, because sometimes the inspiration takes me in a different order. I may not even have a beat yet, and I have an idea for a hook or a punchline or just some really cool rhyme schemes that I come up with. And I may let that be my kind of starting off point to begin a song. And then I may go back and go through all the other steps as well to get that song to like the finish line. So I allow myself to follow the inspiration, not the rules or the way that you're supposed to always do it. And I'll tell you something else I feel that causes us to overthink things in the songwriting process is we're so afraid of making a freaking mistake. So we'll sit there and just look at a blank sheet of paper for minutes, maybe even hours sometimes. And we're afraid to write anything down because we want what comes out of us to already be perfect and be ironed out before we even document it and write it down on paper. And in my opinion, that's a big mistake. See, one way I like to think about the creative process is it's almost like you're mining for gold, and you got to sift through all the dirt to find the nuggets. And this is very much the scientific process as well. Like, you want to figure out all the stuff that doesn't work and get that out the way to kind of free yourself up to receive all the good stuff. So for an example, when I'm like beginning to write a song, I'll go ahead and just start putting down whatever random ideas just comes to mind. I don't care if this is stuff I use or I don't use. I thought of it, I'm putting it down. It's really that simple. And the way I like to think of this is it's like clearing my mind. This may not be scientifically true, but just how I think about it. Like, when I take an idea and I put it on paper, it's almost like I'm removing it from my head and making room for other ideas to come through. And by doing this, I'm allowing myself to get out of my own way. I'm not being overly judgmental, overly critical. I'm just almost being like a vehicle, a vessel. It's like what comes through, I'm just putting it down. I'm just the middleman. Here's another way that we overthink things. We'll be writing a song. We're by ourselves in our room, wherever, writing a song. And we're already thinking about what's other people going to think about this song. Like, are they going to like it? Are they going to dislike it? And who's to say that the song you're writing is going to even be for public consumption? Like, everything you write doesn't have to be for everybody. Maybe it's just for you. Like, who knows? Like, just create, like, kill all that outside noise, all that unnecessary pressure. Well, here's another way that we can overthink things. You got these lyrics that you're trying to work out, and you have this cadence that you really like. You got these rhyme schemes that you're kind of chasing. And then you got this message of what you're really trying to say. And you're just stuck because you can't get it all to work together. And if you're not careful, the next thing you know, you've changed so many things about your lyrics to make it match that cadence perfectly, but you lose your message. Or you chase the rhyme scheme too much and it causes your direction of your song to go in a different direction, or your lines to not even make sense in context of what you're talking about. So even in that scenario, sometimes you just need to sit back and say, you know what? I'm going to cut off this instrumental, forget about the music for just a moment, forget about the cadence for just a moment. Like, what am I really trying to say? Like, what am I really trying to convey to the listener? Then you can go back and say, okay, how can I make what I'm trying to say actually sound good over the beat? Maybe you do use that cadence. Maybe you don't. Maybe you say, you know what? This cadence just isn't working for what I'm trying to say. And I'm just going to come up with a different cadence that will fit these lyrics a little bit better. You see, sometimes we can overthink the techniques, or we want to show off like, man, look how crazy I am with the rhymes, or look how crazy I can be with my rap flow and these cadences and stuff like that. And there's a time and place for all these things. But at the end of the day, don't lose sight of what the main goal is for the song. And that can be different from song to song. But usually our main goal for the song is we want it to move the listener in an emotional way. And being very technical doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen or not. It's not the determining factor. Like, your song doesn't have to be very complex in order for it to have soul and heart into it and for it to move the listener. Like, one song that comes to mind is Tupac's song, Dear Mama. Like, still to this day, that's like one of my favorite rap songs of all time. It's not crazy complex. There's not super dense rhyme schemes and super witty wordplay, and his rap flow's not crazy all over the place and doing triplets and like just crazy rap flow and stuff. It's really died down. It's toned back. It's really not about that at all. It's really about just the vibe of the song, and it's very chillaxed and very heartwarming and heartfelt type of track. I mean, every time I hear that song, it takes me to a certain place. And so that's something to keep in mind when it comes to the whole creative process and stuff like that. Like, everything does not have to be so freaking complex and technically on another level for people to enjoy it and for it to be a good song. And sometimes we'll get caught up in trying to impress other rappers. And again, there's a time and place for that as well. But try not to overthink all this stuff when you're in the creative process. Try to stay out of your own way. If you notice at any given time that you're stuck, take a step back and try to see, okay, why am I stuck? What got me here? Are you chasing a rhyme scheme too far? You know, maybe you've ran out of words that you can really rhyme with that make sense with what you're trying to say. Maybe you need to go back another bar or two and change your rhyme scheme there, so you're not like in the middle of a rhyme scheme and not able to break it at that point in time. I can't tell you how many times I've been trying to write a hook, and I'll just loop the hook section of the instrumental, and I'll just be scatting and vibing out and just 45 minutes to an hour sometimes, just jotting down whatever ideas that come to my mind that I like, and I'm just recording them. I don't know exactly what the right answer is going to be. I don't know exactly what I'm going to end up with in the very end, but I know that I will get there as long as I just stay out of my own way and allow these ideas to come through and document them, get them down so I don't forget them. And then I can go back and look through them and see all the good stuff I want to use and get rid of all the crap. If I'm just getting started writing a new song, I'm asking myself immediately, boom, what's this instrumental make me feel? Jotting down my ideas, my emotions. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel happy. Okay, well, if it makes me feel happy, then what other ideas are coming to mind that are attached to that emotion? Boom, getting them down, getting them down, getting them down. And as I move deeper and deeper into getting those ideas down, I start getting more clarity to what this song could potentially be about. And even within all that, as I'm writing the song, as I'm writing the lyrics, I still give myself enough flexibility to change course, because I don't only get creative ideas in the beginning of writing a song, like during the planning stage of it. I'm still getting creative ideas while I'm writing. So I still give myself enough flexibility to still make changes in direction and creative ideas and stuff while I'm writing. And here's one more. In my videos, you see me breaking out all these graphs, and I'm showing you these cadence sheets and these bar sheets and where every single syllable is lined up and all that stuff. And that's great. Like, that helps you see a visual of what you hear to kind of make the audible stuff that we're listening to more like physical and concrete, which can give you a better understanding of things and help demystify what you're listening to. But when we're creating music and stuff, we're not thinking that analytically about it. Like, we're doing this stuff by ear, by feeling. And if it feels good, then we typically go with it. And so try not to be overly analytical when you're writing your stuff. If stuff is coming together and it's sounding good, that's great. And if you're having an issue about something, then you may want to get a little bit more analytical to try to figure out what the problem is and how you can solve it. But try not to overthink the creative process and just try ideas out. You don't have to actually intellectually understand them in the moment like you see me breaking down in my videos. Like, for an example, right now I could start scatting for like 30 seconds and I could just scat. And then it would take me, probably an hour to break that down and explain what I actually just did. And while I'm scatting, I don't fully understand what I'm actually doing intellectually in that moment. I'm doing it by feeling and just experience. It would take me a lot of time to break that down and explain it in a way that everyone else could understand. So I hope this encourages you. If you're stuck, if you're feeling frustrated, it's okay. Just try to stay out of your own way. Try not to overthink things, and just remind yourself that this is an iterative process. The way that we perfect anything is by iteration after iteration after iteration. Every single mistake or everything you come up with that doesn't work while you're writing a song is getting you closer to the stuff that does work. And the songs that you know and love were not just created out of nowhere and they were just perfect out the gate. Like, they had to work hard on getting that song to the point of where you hear it at, and you never got to hear all the mistakes and the problems they had to figure out along the way. So be easy on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself while you're growing through this whole rap journey. And the one thing that you're gaining this whole time is something that I or nobody else on this whole YouTube platform or any platform, period, can teach you. And that is experience. You can only gain experience for yourself. We can teach you from our own personal experience, and we can help prevent you from making a lot of the same mistakes that we have. But you have to gain your own personal experience. That's when you have truly learned something, because now you know when to use something, when not to use something. Now you're developing a sense of when something's wrong and what to do about it and how to fix it. Like, that's experience, and that's only gained through putting in the work. So don't be discouraged by just putting in the work. You're going through the process. You're on the right track. So keep it up. My name is Cole Mize with ColeMizeStudios.com, where I strive to make you a better rapper now. And if you're trying to perfect your rap skills, make sure that you get yourself a free copy of my ebook, The #1 Fundamental to Rapping, via the link in the video's description below. And subscribe to this channel for straight to the point how to rap video tutorials. And always remember, when it comes to rapping, there's no rules, there's only techniques. Peace.
Hey man, you see that subscribe button right there? Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Oh, and don't forget the bell icon. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Hey, I know you see that like button, right? Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. And look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, today I'm gonna kill it.